Hi everyone. In this presentation, I'm going to talk about nutrition and what it is. You're in a nutrition class, so let's define it. And then I want to relate nutrition to our overall wellness. So let's get started. So I'm always going to start off with objectives, right? So these are the learning objectives, what we're hoping to learn. Today's objectives are to define wellness and all of its dimensions. Explain what evidence-based research defines as a healthy diet. So one thing we're going to talk a lot about this semester is what is evidence-based research? How do we know what it is? And how does that relate to nutrition? So you see in the media and with people you know, all kinds of diets. Some of them are backed up by research and some of them definitely aren't. Okay, and then we're going to define nutrition and nutrients. Let's define wellness. What is wellness and how does nutrition fit into wellness? So before we do that, I want to stop and take a moment to give some credit to my predecessor, Janet Whitsitt. She used to teach this class at ECC, and she's lent me a lot of her slides, a lot of her materials. And she was the one who found these two definitions of wellness, and I really like them. So let's explore them. All right, the first one states that the act of practicing wellness is the act of practicing healthy habits on a daily basis to attain better physical and mental health outcomes so that instead of just surviving, you're thriving. So it's not just about doing all these things to obtain a nutritious diet and exercising a certain amount. You want to be thriving. You want to be doing hobbies. You want to be having lots of enriching social interactions. So this is the overall picture of everything that contributes to our overall happiness and health. And then the second definition states that health is being in a, quote, state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. Not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. So it's more of this bigger picture. And learning the science of nutrition, which you're going to do in this class, can really help with this portion of wellness. So wellness includes a lot of things, and we'll talk about that, but nutrition is a huge portion of wellness, and we'll talk about that too. So learning the science of nutrition can contribute to your overall wellness. And in this class, when we're learning about the nitty-gritty details of, say, digestion or the molecular structure of carbohydrates, I always want you to come back to this. So why is this important? Why is learning about nutrition important? And it's because in the overall picture of our health and wellness, nutrition is a really essential part of that. So what does wellness include? Well, dimensions of overall wellness include social connectedness, exercise, nutrition, sleep, mindfulness. So all of these are really important in terms of contributing to our overall wellness. We'll obviously spend the vast majority of this class talking about nutrition and how that relates to wellness, but I just want to take a moment and talk about some of these other things here. So social connectedness, that's a huge one. Did you know that people who are isolated face a 50% greater risk of premature death than people who have stronger social connections? That's pretty incredible. So social isolation carries a huge risk. It actually carries a risk of mortality that's similar to that of other major risk factors like smoking. So if you have good social interactions, this is a huge contributor to your overall wellness and happiness. Of course, exercise and nutrition go hand in hand. Sleep, getting enough sleep, ideally 7 to 9 hours. I know that when I say 9 hours, you just want to laugh because for most people, that's almost impossible. But if you can shoot for 7 to 8, again, really tough, but that will help overall with all these other factors. So we'll talk about this, but sleep can actually help your body to absorb certain nutrients and can improve nutrition. Okay, and then finally mindfulness. Mindfulness is really great just overall, but especially when you're eating. Mindfulness when you're eating is also pretty important. All right. So optimal diet choices personalized to our own needs can bring the goal of a long, healthy life or wellness within reach. This also lowers the risk of many chronic diseases. So these optimal diet choices are really going to be different for everyone and depend on a whole lot. So in terms of nutrition and wellness, we're going to talk a lot about evidence-based nutrition, right? And evidence-based research shows that diets that are rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean meats, or if you're a vegetarian or you're just not a big meat eater, lots of plant proteins, along with regular exercise can really enhance our quality of life now and actually prolong our life and keep us healthy for many years. So again, there are so many diets out there today. We're going to focus on what diets have been backed up by lots of evidence-based research. So this is what we see from large amounts of research, and it's really backed up by science. So I'm going to show you this chart here. This is showing the percent of deaths in America. And you can see that percent of deaths are made up by a number of things, including heart disease, cancers, accidents, respiratory diseases, strokes, etc. Now take a look at the ones with asterisks behind them. So the ones that are designated with an asterisk show those that are linked to a healthy diet. So here you can see some of the major contributors, some of the major causes of death in America, like heart disease, like some cancers, like stroke, Alzheimer's has been linked to diet. All of these things with asterisks are affected by a diet. By your diet. So by having a more nutritious diet, you can really cut down your risk for a number of the most prevalent causes of death. So a nutritious diet is really, really important, not only for our overall well-being, but for how long we live. Okay, look, I moved. All right, so what is nutrition? Let's define it. Nutrition is the science that links food to health and disease. It's the study of nutrients and other substances in our food and their actions in our body. So these actions include ingestion, that's actually the act of eating, digestion, so we'll talk a lot about how food moves from the digestive tract across the small intestines to transport systems like our blood system. Nutrients get transported to cells and these nutrients get metabolized. This is how we get our energy. So energy is released from the particles of food that we eat. And metabolism is just the sum total of chemical reactions in our body. And then whatever we don't use gets excreted. So when we're thinking about nutrition, it's not just as simple as saying, what is the most nutritious food I can put in my body? There are so many other factors. These include social, economic, cultural, and psychological implications of food and eating. So it's not just as simple as what can I eat that is the most nutritious thing to put in my body? When we gather as humans, there's almost always food. If you think about any wedding you've been to, funerals, any kind of gathering, there's almost always food. Food has so many important implications. We all have our favorite foods, our comfort foods. We have foods that we might be tied to socially. So when we think about nutrition and what we want to put in our body, it's not just about thinking about the nutrients that that particular food has. There are so many other factors that contribute to what we eat. Let's talk about the 5 food groups. Foods are derived from plants, animals, and fungi, and they're taken into the body to yield energy and obtain nutrients. Those are the 2 main reasons we eat to maintain life. So what are the 5 food groups? Well, here you can see in the upper left vegetables. So vegetables is one major group, and you can see here there's a zucchini, there's a mushroom. So fungi would be included in this group. So fungi actually are not plants. They're in a different kingdom. They don't photosynthesize, they don't have chloroplasts, so we consider them fungi and not plants. And here you can see a zucchini. A zucchini is, in a botanical sense, a fruit. But when it comes to nutrition, we're going to define it as a vegetable because it has a lot of similar nutrients that other vegetables have. So vegetables is one group, fruits another group. Here we can see dairy. So things like cheese, things like milk. So that's another group. And then here you can see our grains. So bread, cereals, pasta, rice, and anything else made from a grain. And then finally our meat group. So that includes like this poultry here, and then of course the other meats. It also includes things like eggs, nuts and seeds, legumes. So legumes are dried peas and beans. You'll hear that word a lot. And we categorize these together in a group because they all contain a lot of protein. They all have similar nutrients. So those are the 5 food groups. Let's define nutrients. Nutrients are chemical substances obtained from food and used in the body for growth, maintenance, and repair of the body's tissues. So essential nutrients must be obtained from the diet because the body cannot make them, or the body cannot make enough of it for a specific biological or physiological function. So, for example, iron. Iron attaches to hemoglobin in our red blood cells and carries oxygen throughout the body. We don't make iron in our bodies, so we need to get it from our food or from a supplement. Meats contain lots of very high amounts of iron. If you are anemic, you probably don't have enough iron. Your body can't carry blood to where it needs to go, and you feel tired. So we don't make minerals. Our bodies actually don't make minerals. We have to obtain these from the foods that we eat. So they are a essential nutrient. And then there are some vitamins. For example, vitamin D, our body makes a precursor of vitamin D, but we actually need to go out in the sun in order to convert this, in order for this to be converted to vitamin D that our body can use. So, so some people get enough vitamin D if they're out in the sun all the time. Some people have to take supplements if you live in an environment where you don't get a whole lot of sun, or if you have a job where you're not outside a lot. So there are various vitamins and minerals that we'll talk about that we can either obtain from our food or that our body actually makes. So let's go back to our objectives. So we defined wellness and its dimensions. We related nutrition to wellness, right? Nutrition is just one part of overall wellness, but a very important part. We talked about the 5 major food groups and how these can contribute to a healthy diet and what evidence-based research defines as a healthy diet. And then we defined nutrition and nutrients. So that's going to be it for this presentation.